All right, so the Scots invented the steam engine, television and penicillin. But to my mind, their best invention, bar none, is whiskey. Uisce Bay, as they say in Gaelic, which means water of life. And I'm here at Scotland's smallest distillery to help them make up a batch. Shame I won't be able to taste it for 10 years. The Scots have been making whiskey for centuries. It became so successful by the 17th century that the taxman decided he wanted a cut, as happens with most of life's little pleasures. Many of the distillers were simple farmers making their wee dram from leftover barley, and rather than pay the heavy duty, they carried on illicitly. After much political toing and froing, the duty was reduced, and a group of farmers here in Pitlochry decided they could afford to go legit. The result was Edra Dower whisky, made at Scotland's smallest distillery. Its current owner, Andrew Symington, is determined to preserve the tradition for future generations. Very pleased to meet you.
Pleased to meet you.
Here we are at Scotland's smallest distillery.
Yes.
It's an absolutely gorgeous spot, isn't it?
Yes.
I don't think I've seen a prettier distillery.
It's very Brigadoon.
Yeah, yeah. Takes a lot of painting.
It does indeed, yes.
Yeah.
We're constantly at it. It's a bit like the Forth Road Bridge. You start at one end, finish and start again at the day.
Well, it is the water of life.
Yes.
So what happens to the water once you've got it? Shall we go and have a look?
Yes, of course, I'll show you.
All right. Let the whiskey making commence. Stand well back. This rather ancient looking machine is called a masher, the last of this design in Scotland. In here, ground barley is mixed with hot water to make a mash. It smells like porridge, or it smells like really nice vegetable stew. Can you see me? I can't see anything. If you can manage to see what's going on here, the masher is basically turning the starchy barley in hot water into a hot sugar liquid called wort. Ah, you've got the same problem. Essentially, whiskey's a very simple drink, isn't it?
Spring water, barley and yeast, that's it.
Yeah.
3 ingredients.
Which are also the same ingredients for beer.
Yes, yes. Basically what we're making this out is a strong beer. That's the first part of the process.
And then we distill the beer.
You're distilling the beer, yes. Yeah.
Is that why beer and whiskey go so well together?
Possibly, yes.
And from the hot and steamy to the very cold, with Andrew's unique cooling system. Right, so we made our mash below, and then it's coming straight up to here.
Yes, that liquid downstairs becomes what's known as wort.
Wort.
And it gets pumped
W-O-R-T.
W-O-R-T.
Yeah.
It's pumped up here into what we call the Morton's refrigerator.
Right. Now this is a very ancient, well, this is a replica of a very ancient bit of
This is a
machinery.
replica of an ancient piece of kit, yeah. The original one was built in 1933, made out of copper, but with it being cleaned with caustic every week on a twice-weekly basis, it just kind of ate it away and wore it away.
Yeah.
So we decided that to keep tradition, that we would make an exact handmade copy of this, and it took about 6 months and about 60 grand.
That's a lot of money to spend on keeping a tradition going. I like that.
It's important because you know, although I might own this place now, it's been around for nearly 200 years. I'm really just a custodian. You know?
Yeah.
And my job really is to leave it in as good a condition or better condition than I actually found it.
Yeah.
You know? So this is really my time at the watch.
I love Andrew's dedication to tradition. Once cooled, the wort is piped through to this huge barrel called a washback. I love these whiskey words as well. And now I'm allowed to add the next vital ingredient.
It's now time to put the yeast in, eh?
All right.
So we've got this bag of distiller's yeast here. 20 kilos.
And we're going to put it in kind of slowly.
Yeah. You're just going to drop that in bit by bit.
The yeast helps fermentation, and it takes just 48 hours to turn the sugar into alcohol.
Make whiskey, my boys.
That's great. So that's good, that's the yeast in. So fermentation will almost take place immediately now. It becomes a bit like a beer. It's about 8% alcohol.
Right.
It's a bit like, in fact, there's Friday's one there behind you.
Okay. It does It looks like an enormous pint of beer in a very big wooden glass.
Basically, that's what it is, yes.
So we've made beer, but how does it become whiskey? Well, next is boil up in this, the smallest whiskey still in the country.
The steam goes up into this...
Rising up into the swan neck here. It will go over the edge here, but it will start to condense.
Yeah. And it's out there that it starts to condense.
We have the worm tanks, yes.
Shall we go and look at the worm tanks?
Yep.
Worm tanks are not what you might think. The worm is a curly copper pipe which cools the steam to make it liquid once more. And when it's done the job, pure whiskey comes out through this tap. It's so precious, it's kept under lock and key.
Explain this lock, which looks very ancient.
Yeah, it was one of the original customs and excise. When the excise man was on site, everything was under his lock and key. So what he did was, if he ever went away at weekends, a paper seal went in here, and he shut that down. So he knew if anybody had tried to get into it, if his paper seal had been broken or not.
So why would people be trying to get into this process?
To have a wee dram.
So he's just stopping the distiller himself from just having a small taste.
It was an old tradition that in most distilleries they had 3 whites and a goldie.
3 whites and a goldie?
Yes.
Yeah.
3 whites being the white clear spirit here.
Right.
And 1 real matured whiskey.
Right.
Goldie coloured one at the end of the day.
Yeah.
That was the old kind of unwritten law of the stillman's allowance in the day.
Once barrelled, the whisky is stored and left to mature for at least 10 years. The stills may be small, but this warehouse is huge. Andrew stores more than 5,000 barrels here. It's a gorgeous room to be in, isn't it?
It's great, isn't it? Just the smell itself, you know.
Yeah.
That smell is the angel share. That's the whiskey evaporating.
The angel's share.
That's your angel share, yes.
Right.
You can smell it. It's coming out to the cask.
It's actually coming through the wood.
Yes, yeah. Casks are breathing, breathing in,
The spirit we saw coming out at the end there had no colour at all. And all the colour comes from the barrels, doesn't it?
Yeah. These Spanish Oloroso sherry casks here, these big ones,
Yeah.
contain about 500 litres. They give fantastic flavour and colour to it. At the end of it,
I mean, how much of the flavour is given by the barrel?
About 75%.
Really?
Yeah. We use all sorts of barrels here, from bourbon barrels, which the smaller ones on top there. Here we've got a Burgundy wine cask, about 235 litres.
Yeah.
Over here we've got some Bordeaux casks.
I can feel the excitement in your voice.
I've got some Guy Amarolos, I've got some Marsalas, I've got all sorts of stuff here.
When people talk about a single malt, what does that mean?
Single malt is the product of a single distillery. It's a batch. It's a
single
small
mash.
batch distillation. Yes.
So it means just one.
It's a product of one distillery
barley.
itself. Yes. One distillery itself.
That's all it
a
means.
single product.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, should we taste a single malt?
Yeah, I've got a very nice 1993 around here. Actually coming up 18 years old.
Oh, that's a nice sound.
Isn't it just?
That's a mean corkscrew you've got there.
It certainly is. This is what we call, those are that. Smell good? This is what we call a duker.
A duker?
A duker, yeah. That's what the old boys used to call it, a duker. You put this thing in, you
Pump it.
You duke the whiskey out, that's right. You're duking it. A bit like duking apples at Halloween, but a bit more exciting.
That's very dark,
Look
isn't
at
it?
the beautiful colour of that.
You wouldn't think you get so much flavour off, there's that amount of liquid in that barrel.
Now this will be probably about 55% alcohol. Taste it neat like that. Mix it with some saliva and let it go down.
I never know how to taste things.
And you feel this warm glow
Oh, you certainly do.
going down here, don't you?
Yeah.
Nice warming feeling coming down there.
Yeah. It's absolutely delicious, isn't it?
And if you can imagine a cold winter's night here with snow and -10, a log fire burning, sitting with your feet up on one of these, oh, heaven.
Yeah.
Paradise. You can just nuzzle away, as we say, for
Nuzzle away at a whiskey.